It's Lunch for the Soul, one of my favorite times of day. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I am so happy you're here with me today. This is always a nice time for us to just reflect, to be thankful for anything and everything that's happened in our lives. And our next guests are so intriguing. You are not going to believe what they have been through. It's all positive. So how about that? A lot of times Lunch for the Soul will be about some tragedy, some horrific medical scare that a family has been through. But this time you're going to be intrigued how we're going to change things up a little bit. So let me bring in, here we go, Brooke and Chris Martin. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul.
Hey.
Thanks for having us. We're glad
I'm
to share the story.
so happy you're here. Well, we are going to start from the very beginning. First of all, you were trying to get preggers, about 22 years ago. And then what happened? Let's start from there.
Well, we went through some infertility issues. I had a surgery and some other things happened. And we found out that we had to have in vitro to get pregnant. And so a few years later, we decided to do that. And with a lot of faith and prayer, we, went down that road. And if people haven't been through that before, they may not know what that consists of. It's a lot of medication the female has to take, and you got to go to the doctor a lot, and it may or may not work. And then they retrieve the eggs and put the eggs and the sperm together, and they may or may not like each other. So it's a lot of ifs, a lot of if this, a lot of percentages. And we just believe that we weren't going to be a percentage, that we really had a strong faith at that point in our lives. And we said, no, we're not going to be a percentage. This is going to work. And we just knew. We knew from the beginning.
I love that. I mean, that is just such a beautiful feeling, isn't it? And a belief system that got you through this. And you were right. That faith led you to having twins. How exciting is that? Now, okay, so you had some embryos left over. So what happened? What was that big decision? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So after we had our boys, and those are 5-day-old embryos, well, we ended up having over a dozen embryos that resulted from the procedure. And the doctors used the 2 best ones, and those were our boys. Mm-hmm. Went through pregnancy just fine, had healthy twin boys. And but then we had like 10 left over, and and I was 34, and we knew we didn't want to go through it again and have twins or triplets and 10 more babies. It was one decision that we knew we might have to make. Mm-hmm. But the choices are to use them, donate them to science, let them thaw out, or donate them back to the fertility clinic where you had the procedure done. Mm-hmm. So given our belief that those, are 5-day-old babies to us, we donated them back to the clinic and just prayed that the right thing would happen,
And then I got to meet up with you all, goodness, probably a little over a month ago, and take a look at all the documentation and all you've been through. And I mean, just such a beautiful, happy couple. It's so amazing to see your love and how it shines through you and your boys, but not only your boys. So let's forward this to find out what happened when you got a phone call one fateful day.
Yeah, well, all those years we wondered if there were other kids out there, but we were not allowed to go back and find out. It was completely a closed, closed records. But 23andMe came along, and we got a call on January 1st, 2021 from a cousin of mine who had gotten contacted through 23andMe that someone said that they were their cousin, and something about donated embryos. And of course, in fact, we were home with COVID at the time, which was funny. So we were sitting on the couch and got this call, and it all started. I said, well, verify that story. And if that's true, give this person our email address. So we started emailing, and of course, we found out this 18-year-old boy's name and found him on Facebook, because that's what people do. Mm-hmm. And he saw a picture, and I said, that's our kid. Looks just like our boys.
That gives me goosebumps. And you found out he wasn't a lone child, right?
Yeah, about the third email, he told me that he has 2 siblings, and the 3 of them are triplets. And so we have triplets, 100% our kids. Yeah, in
It
Nashville.
is so powerful. Okay, so I want to walk us through some photos that you
Okay,
sent me. Let's start from here. It's so intriguing to see
crazy.
okay,
These
so
were
go
some of the first ones that we saw because their dad actually sent us pictures. So it's
uh-huh.
been amazing. So on the each of these pictures are different families. On the left is Peter in Nashville, Peter Monroe, and the right is our son Matthew.
And look at the similarities. I mean, this is remarkable, isn't it? I mean, of course, obviously they're your biological children, but if you take a look at that, it could really almost be the same baby. Okay, let's
Yeah.
advance.
Okay, so on the left is Christopher, our son, and the right is Thomas Monroe in Nashville.
That is remarkable, isn't it? It really is. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Okay, here we go.
This one's pretty amazing because these were taken by two different families of these boys in high school about the same age. So on the left are the Monroe boys, Thomas and Peter. On
Uh-huh.
the right are our boys, Christopher and Matthew.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Really, it could almost be the same boys
Yeah.
again. It's just so intriguing. And here we go again. Here, let me
Yeah.
get rid of this banner so we can see better. There we go.
So aren't they all cute? They're just all adorable.
Oh, of
Um,
course.
the top two are our boys, and the bottom two are the Monroes.
Uh-huh.
So this is Peter Monroe on the left, and our son Matthew on the right.
Oh, wow. Now you have a daughter.
Now we have a daughter, Lauren, and I thought this picture was just crazy because she looks like him, so
Uh-huh.
much like him with makeup
Uh-huh.
on.
Now look at the shape of the face.
Yeah,
It's really remarkable. If you look at the jawline,
yeah,
it's just so intriguing to
yeah.
see the genetics going on here. You want to tell us about this one?
We're at a Titans game, actually.
Oh,
We went to
fun.
Nashville. This was the first time we actually met Peter.
Uh-huh.
A couple of the kids came to Texas before that, and Peter couldn't come. So we went to Nashville and took them to a Titans game, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. And we have a few more to go through here.
Oh,
Oh, look at them.
I know. So people say that, they say, who do they look like? I look at this
Uh-huh.
picture and she looks a lot like his side of the family. That's him in high school.
Uh-huh.
But then we look at other pictures, and she looks like me. And it's just,
Yeah, I have an example of that right here. Very, very much so. Two
Yeah.
beauties right there. Oh my goodness. And then look at this one.
Yeah, they look a lot alike. It's Christopher and Lauren.
Uh-huh.
And that's the first time they met. And, all the kids met that summer, and it was just like they'd known each other. They just went off. We were all going to go to dinner together, and they said, "Hey, we're going to go get some tacos down the street," and they just left us there.
Oh my goodness. So they were getting along really fast.
This is Matthew. So Matthew, he is our son, and he is now in the Navy. So, and it's great. He's our boys are kind of big brothers to them now. It's kind of strange because, we hear Lauren calling them her big brothers. And it's
I love this so much. It's just incredible, isn't it? Just to see that and to feel that. But this is what I think is so huge, is that both sides of the family wants to be together, wants to be close. We don't have jealousy issues going on, which is huge. And I was really hoping that the dad who raised them could join us, and maybe he'll still be able to. I know he was trying, but how huge has it been to you that Trey, the dad who raised the triplets, has just been on board with all of this?
It's just, at first it was really surprising because we were being really careful about boundaries, of not wanting to sound like a parent or have any influence because, Trey and his wife did so much for their children, and one thing we haven't talked about is that their mother actually passed away a couple of years ago. And right, like a year before we met. And so I'm so sad that I'm not going to get to meet her, at least not here, but I feel like, she's influenced a lot for me, talking with Lauren.
And Trey says that the two of you brought her dream to life, which was to be a mother, and you helped make that happen.
That's just, it still gives me chills, that's the best case scenario, and their family's a lot like ours. So when we reached out to Trey, of course, we said, we don't expect anything. All we ever wanted to know is that, some of them made it, So, and he was actually adopted when he was a baby. and recently, like in the past few years, found his biological family. So it's been a blessing for him.
Yeah.
So he has been very just, we had a family reunion in July in Tennessee, and he made sure that those kids were there. He made sure that they all knew, and he helped with transportation. And so all 5 kids were together for the first time, and it was amazing. And, he's let us have access to family movies as they were growing up.
Oh yeah. And I have actually a picture. So here we are all talking not too long ago. I tell you what, it's hard to get a screenshot like this to get everyone smiling and angled just right. I tried so many times and this is as good as it got. So do you want to introduce everyone who was here with us the night we all got to talk?
Sure. So next to you on the right is Lauren.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we see their names too, so that helps.
Yeah. Okay. So and then underneath us is Christopher. He's in Waco.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thomas in the middle. He's in Nashville. And then their dad, Trey, on the right. And then Peter put a picture on his. He's underneath. And the only one not on there, of course, is Matthew.
Right.
He couldn't make it. So.
Right. Yeah, he's busy being a military man, right?
He
and
is.
We're so proud of all of them. And then, I mean, it's just incredible to see when I got to witness how they interact with each other. It's really natural, isn't it? I mean, everything just feels like it just happens. It doesn't feel like anything's calculated or you have to try too hard. It just happens.
And, that's been, each person has a takeaway of what they've learned, because there's no book on this. There's no instruction manual. And we've all just learned to kind of go with it. All the relationships are different, but it just shows you that how much God is in control, because we couldn't have made this happen. We did our part, we did what we thought was right, but the big picture and the similarities between the kids and how well they communicate and just everything about it. I mean, I couldn't try to control it if I tried. When I found out the kids were all talking to each other, like outside of me and outside of Trey, I thought, okay, I'm just going to let this happen. So it's really affected me, not being as worried about stuff. If this could work out, a lot can happen,
Chris, how are you doing with all of this? How surreal is it to be a dad of 5 right now, and so to speak, instead of 2?
Pretty crazy, but I think ever since we decided to put our embryos up for adoption, I always said, hey, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But my thought process was, which I think is correct, is whatever couple decides to adopt is going through a lot in order to make it happen. So those children that they have are going to be definitely precious in their eyes. And I always told my kids that, hey, they knock on the door. I'm not their dad. They have a mom and dad that loves them very much. But they have my genetic background, so I certainly want to share that with them. And I found out through this whole thing how powerful genetics really are. And, and then there's the nurturing part, which is even as powerful as that. So you put those two together. Both families were kind of the same values growing up, and you can see it in the kids and see how they turned out. And but yet, they have that genetic makeup like brother and sister. I'm sure they make each other mad, just like a brother and a sister.
Sure.
But they communicate like family as well. It's like, it's really strange, but it's been a good thing. Trey's been wonderful. Me and him get along great. And it's a shame that we didn't get to meet Becky. I think that would have been the icing on the cake.
I think another really important aspect in all of this is how open both sides of the families were with your children about how the pregnancies came about, so that there were no shock or anger issues or jealousy issues when this all came about, when they were all young adults, because they already knew that was a possibility, right? How big of a role do you feel that open communication with the kids, which might not have been an easy conversation? I don't know. How was it for you all? You told them when they were early teens, like?
Yeah, we have pictures of them as 5-day-old embryos in their baby book.
We pulled the test tube baby card on them. So there was a time period, they're test tube babies, they're in a petri dish. So we were not shy about it because we knew they were miracles of God.
They were chosen to be brothers by the doctor and by God's hand. And, You know, I think about if we would have made the choice, you know, a different choice, and would have donated the embryos or something else, and that would have been those kids in Nashville. And
Yeah.
you know, that's just our story. And other people have different stories for different reasons. But wow, yeah, it's a lot to process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning back to 2000, and you have these viable embryos, and we don't want this to be political, but at all. And that's the last thing you want with this story. Let's talk about how you were feeling about those and the hope that they could lend, and how your faith played a role in all of that.
Well, when you have those pictures of 5-day-old embryos, and then you have pictures of our twins, you know, it just kind of speaks for itself. It's not political. It's emotional. It was reality for us.
It was definitely a change for me on my viewpoints as a younger man, obviously. But yeah, the science behind it. And when the tech said, hey, we just have to put both parts of the Petri dish and wait, I do nothing. So that tells me that, hey, there's got to be a higher power involved in this, in these two cells getting together and multiplying and creating a human being. And when you see it at 5 days, obviously you ask a lot of questions.
Sure.
But we have the faith, and we still do, that, hey, that all things are possible, and that babies are precious.
Yeah.
And we only take care of them for a short period of time. God takes care of them forever.
Yeah.
So he gives us the ability to just hold on to his treasure for a little while in our lives.
And
That's a perfect way to state that.
and we do have 5 more embryos that were donated.
Well, we do need to talk about that. I'm doing some math, and I'm thinking that there could be more children out there. Any thoughts about the future of the phone ringing again? It's a possibility. Your Christmas is about to get a lot bigger.
DNA has changed the whole world with that. I mean, most parents, I mean, you go through that process, and like Becky, she gave birth to triplets. She has all the pictures of her being pregnant and going through that labor. And so they didn't have to say a word. And other couples don't have to say a word either.
Right.
But the DNA tells the story. So I encourage couples that go through this process and have it to eventually have that conversation.
And we really want to be a resource, you know, we don't know where this is going to lead us sharing our story, but this is a possibility if someone can get pregnant to adopt embryos. But we want to be education or support, you know, emotional support or support of resources, or, you know, just any questions they have to be able to ask us about it.
That's powerful, that you not only want to share your story, but you want to make it something bigger and better for others. So what is your thought with that? How would you want somebody to reach out to you if they wanted to do that?
Well, we have a Facebook page, and that's probably the best way. And it's Our Love Multiplied. You can look up Love Multiplied with an IED and multiplied. And there's a picture of 2 little embryos on it. So you can find us there and message us. You know, we have an Instagram page too, Our Love Multiplied. I'm not on Instagram as much, but I'm on Facebook a lot. So they can reach out to me there. Be the best 2 places.
And who do you think would best learn from you? From both aspects, right? From somebody who's trying to figure out what to do with their frozen embryos, or perhaps somebody who says, I can't get pregnant. Should I go through this? And you could almost walk them through that, and you would be willing to do that? Absolutely.
I mean, it's just like when you have multiples, like I have twins. When you have twins, you don't take advice from someone that just has one, right? Right. So if you're going through this, or, you know, it's best to talk to someone that's been through it. And so far, you know, as far as our big picture of the kids finding us, we're the only one that's happened to. And that's something to consider. You know, we never thought we'd actually find out. And when we did, I don't remember thinking much over the next few days. I was just in a fog, you know, but that's normal. You know, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
Yeah. You're definitely in that shock mode at first, but you know, it settles down after a while. And we're just happy that the 3 that are in Nashville are great kids and are doing well. Trey's doing well. And if we've got more out there, we just pray that they're doing well too.
Yes, that's a big prayer. Well, you're a lovely couple. I can't thank you enough for sharing your story with us. God bless you each and every day, and all 5 of your children, perhaps 10 children. Take care of yourselves, and thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you, Melissa.
Appreciate it.
It's an honor to get to know you both. And I just want to encourage you, if you happen to join us late, you know what? We've got you covered. All you have to do is pull up our YouTube page on Fox 26. We'll make it as easy as we can for you. Just look up Fox 26 Houston. You can search for Lunch for the Soul, and you can find this episode as well as many others. And then I want to make sure you join me next Wednesday, because it is going to be another powerful conversation with a young man who has 2 parents he loves, he adores them, but they are both each of their own medical crisis. And so he has a job, but on the side, find out how tacos are making a huge difference for this family. It is a remarkable story. We're going to certainly learn something from him, and it's going to be a powerful conversation. So I hope you'll join me next Wednesday to find out just how powerful tacos of all things can be. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks for blessing us by being here with us.